Hello, my name is Jimmy and this is the 2022 Jeep Grand Wagoneer. However, you won't see a Jeep badge actually really anywhere on the vehicle, because what they're trying to do here is with the Grand Wagoneer is they're going off to its own brand. Think Honda to Acura or Toyota to Lexus, Jeep to Grand Wagoneer, or Wagoneer, and then you got the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer. But this is the Series 3, which is the top trim here, which means that this, as equipped here in Canada, is 131,000 Canadian dollars. And what does that give you? Well, in this video, we're gonna find out everything about this vehicle, so stay tuned. But first, let's talk styling. While yes, it doesn't have a Jeep badge on the hood, it still has the Jeep vertical grills in front. But this is a very elegant front grille. Just check out the details here on the headlamps, on the grille, even the entire front bumper. And it's, well, very dominant in its look. I absolutely love it up here. Off to the side here, we got 22-inch wheels, and they actually don't look oversized on this truck because it is so massive. I love the Grand Wagoneer font that's off to the side here. When you walk up to the vehicle, well, there's deployable side step that come out. Of course, you have chrome around the windows, and if this isn't long enough for you, for 2023 you can get a Grand Wagoneer L, and with that you get a foot longer vehicle, a foot longer than this. So I mean, if you want more space, you certainly can get that. And then in the back we do have some LED taillights, and they look fantastic. And well, when they turn on and off, I love the signature that it has on it. Grand Wagoneer across the rear. It's a very nice looking vehicle. Some say it looks like a bus. I don't really see it. Maybe it's because of the window cutout, but I think it's an elegant design overall. The window back here, unfortunately, it doesn't pop up by itself, but of course, you do get the automated tailgate here, and it does lift up, revealing, well, quite a bit of space. At 27.4 cubic feet, I think it's actually more than enough. However, if you want more storage, like I said, there's the Grand Wagoneer L, and you can get even more space back here if you need. Of course, if you don't need the third row, there's a button on the side allowing you to fold those rear seats down to get 70 cubic feet in here. Actually, almost 71 cubic feet within this space. This specific vehicle has the 7-passenger option. You can get an 8-passenger, which trades that center console in the middle for, well, a seat. But let's go inside to the third row and see exactly how spacious that is. Getting access to the third row isn't difficult. You can just press a button on the rear seats, they slide forward, and you can just hop right in. Space in the third row is plentiful. There's enough headroom, and of course there's a skylight above. You have USB ports on the side, and there's even an adjustment for the backrest. I would say you can easily fit 3 people back here. Yes, it's a little bit squished side to side, but in terms of headroom and legroom, for anyone that's under 6 feet, it's going to be more than enough. As for the second row, as I said, I'm 5'11", headroom, legroom, plentiful. This being Series 3, I have all the toys. I got a Fire TV screen in front of me, I got a screen in the center, I got everything that I need. Heated and cooled seats, blinds on the sides. It's amazing in here. And the leather, it's soft, it's so comfortable. And it has, well, just so much space. Between you and your passenger, you got this big center console that has tons of storage and nooks and crannies for you to put in all your devices. It's amazing back here, it really is. If you're thinking about putting child seats in here, well, I have a Collect Ling on the driver's side here. As you can see, even with the screen on the back of the front seat here, there's no problem getting the child seat in here. There's plenty of space. In terms of the rear-facing FUMF, also no problems behind the passenger seat here, even with the screen in place. The screen does tilt a little if you need it to. In terms of forward-facing, there's no issues there neither. What's nice is you can still fold the seat forward if you're using the lower anchors for the install method rather than the seat belt. In terms of the third row, yes, you can put child seats in here, and rear-facing seats still fit. So there's plenty of room in here for all of your kids. But let's head to the front seat because there's so much more in the front to show you. All right, the front seats of the Grand Wagoneer. These seats, they're heated, they're cooled, they're massaging, and there's a billion different ways that you can adjust them. Okay, maybe not a billion, but you can make it that it's flat, or you can have the lateral supports up on the bottom as well as the back cushion so that it can hug you or, well, have a more relaxed driving position. Love these seats. Very, very comfortable. In front of me, a 2-spoke steering wheel, which is quite different, but I like it. There's a wood inlay which looks really nice on it, and behind, a full digital cluster. It's the same one that's in the Grand Cherokee L. It looks great, it works well. I mean, sure, they could have added a little bit more pizzazz into it to make it just fancier. There are quite a bit of animations that's built in, but if you compare this to the Escalade or the Navigator, I think, well, they just look a little bit fancier. But in terms of functionality wise, absolutely the same. You do have a heads-up display. I do like that. Very useful. And then all the other screens. In here, there's 75 inches of screen, starting with the infotainment. It's a very easy to use system. Uconnect 5 just works great. And there's wireless CarPlay, there's Android Auto. I mean, the system, it's so useful. I absolutely love it. Everything is just built in, and you still have some physical controls underneath as well as off to the side. Very, very useful system. Below, I have another screen that controls the seats, the massaging, and the climate control. But if I don't want to use that, I can press a button and it hides away to reveal my Qi wireless charger, USB ports, as well as the HDMI hookup for the passenger screen. That's right, the passenger side has their own screen and an HDMI hookup. So whoever's sitting here can be like playing a game, hooking up their computer to use. Like, the options are endless. There's so much that you can do in this cabin. And it's just a beautiful cabin. It really is. The details that's in the wood, the leather, the stitching, it's all absolutely beautiful in here. I have absolutely no complaints about any part. Okay, maybe one. The stocks, they are a little bit cheaper because they're off of other Stellantis products. But everything else looks really, really premium. I mean, the start-stop button, around it there's leather, and there's stitching on top of that. How? Why? I don't know. It's an amazing looking cabin. It really is. I am in love with it. But let's go take it for a drive and see how it is on the road. Underneath the hood of this specific Grand Wagoneer, we got a 6.4 liter V8. Yes, that is the 392 Hemi V8 that's in the SRT products, which means, well, it makes a really good noise. In terms of power, it makes sufficient 471 horsepower and 455 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 comes in about 6 seconds, and honestly, for a vehicle that weighs like 6,000 pounds, it's quick enough and it sounds the part. And that's the most important part. I mean, when you're driving a big truck like this, you need it to have a good V8. But in 2023, you can get the 3-liter twin-turbo inline-6, codenamed the Hurricane engine, and that will make 500 horsepower. So yes, that's gonna make more, but I'm just gonna say this without even listening to that engine, this probably sounds better. I mean, yes, I know it's gonna be slightly more efficient with that motor, but honestly, it's not that bad with this motor that's in here. I'm averaging like 17 liters for 100 kilometers. For a truck this big, honestly, not too bad. Because like the Alpina XB7, that was like 20 liters for 100 kilometers. Same thing with the GLS 63 that I had. So this, I mean, 17, it's better. I have no complaints whatsoever about the fuel efficiency of this machine. What I will say is, the ride in this is sublime. The air suspension dialing that's on this, it's so good. It's so comfortable in here. And this is just on aero setting. If you put it up to normal, it actually would smooth things out just a little bit more. But I don't think I have to. It's such a good riding vehicle. Sure, it is a full truck body on frame chassis, but because it has independent front and rear suspension, I mean, it's based off the Ram 1500, But the Ram 1500 has a live axle in the rear. This has independent suspension in the rear. And because of that, it actually rides quite well. Handling wise, well, it's still a 6,000 pound SUV, which means it's gonna push wide and it's gonna understeer, and it's not gonna be the vehicle that you want it to kind of like maneuver tightly. But what I will say is the maneuverability of it, it's actually pretty darn good. Steering calibration is, well, actually really, really well done because it's light. It's not so light that it's floaty. It still has some weight to it, but it's light enough that you don't feel like you're driving a 6,000 pound SUV. I mean, sure, you look at it and, well, it's absolutely huge, but you got giant windows in front of you, sides and rear. So visibility is great, but maneuverability, so like if I need to turn around here, no cars, this is just a 2-lane road and it's sufficient. And it just doesn't feel like it's a big vehicle. I don't know how they did that, but it feels like a Honda Pilot, a Palisade. It doesn't feel that big. And it just gives the driver more confidence while driving this car. Or truck, not car. People might get offended if you call this a car. But it just drives so well. In terms of all the advanced driving safety features, this of course have the radar guided cruise control or the adaptive cruise control, has a lane keep assist, lane centering, and it all works well. I mean, it's not as well as, well, Tesla's like autopilot where you can almost be fully hands off. You still need to jiggle the wheel a little bit here and there, but I think it still works well for what you need. Perfect. It really, there's nothing about this that I will complain about in terms of the way it drives, the way it rides. Because on the road, it's so confident. And you can tow 10,000 pounds or like 9,000 something. But close enough to 10,000 pounds where you can call it that. Overall, I am absolutely in love with this truck. I know in 2022, everyone's going EV this and EV that. And considering the gas prices that it is right now, at $2.50 a liter, almost $2.50, it's like $2.33 Canadian a liter, it's gonna take a lot to fill this truck up. But you know what? That's completely fine, because there's not gonna be really an EV that's gonna be able to do what this can. In terms of like straight out passenger capacity, cargo capacity, and towing, and the range, just it won't beat it, because EVs today just won't have what this gasoline motor and frame and everything that this can provide. So this is gonna be around for quite a while. And with that new Hurricane engine, it's gonna be a little bit more efficient, less for people to complain about, and that's certainly a good thing. But that's really it. That's all I really want to say about the Grand Wagoneer. Thank you so much for watching and coming on a ride with me. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below and I'll be sure to get back to you. Thanks. Take care.